Hey everybody, and welcome to this is Facebook Live session number 4 with Todd Askins, and I'm, super excited. I mean, Todd's a huge inspiration of mine, and just want to do just a quick Q&A, just to, kind of go back into the history books a little bit. Todd was the founder and partner of Shmack Clothing, and Todd, can you tell me, just in your words, how did you get started, and just kind of maybe walk us through that journey of yours?
So Shmack had started 2002-ish with me and a partner of mine, Josh Malvin. We were good friends, grew up together, and we wanted to make basically t-shirts. And it was kind of early on when it was a little bit, the barrier of entry of making t-shirts was a little bit more complicated as far as like software and the different Illustrator and editing, and then also getting it from the artwork to getting screens developed, and it was just different then. And so we started making some t-shirts. We had some like grassroots advertising with wheat pasting in the area, putting up stickers, and kind of created a buzz through that. Then we would throw these fashion show parties, and we had a lot of great support locally. And so we just kind of grew from there, and then went to, at the time it was called Magic out in Vegas. I'm not even sure if Magic still exists.
It is.
Oh, it is? Okay. So that, and at that time there was all these little boutique shows. Like the first one we went to was called Pool, Pool. It was a rail show, so it was, where Magic had these gigantic booths and these big huge brands. Pool was like for these like small little artisan brands, and there was a lot emerging at that time. It was kind of centered around denim, footwear, because like all the Nike SBs and sneaker collecting kind of just started about then, and so we were just kind of jumped on that bandwagon and had a good run with it. It was I learned a lot. It was the best learning experience I'd ever had.
What was one of the most fun years or fun stretches that you had where you're just like, gosh, what's next? Like, was there any time?
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of different fun things. I mean, Josh and I, when we started, we did everything ourselves. We sewed labels on, we did hang tags, we boxed shirts, we created orders for customers. I think some of the big milestones is there was a brand, a chain of stores called Up Against the Wall at that time, and this one of the owners was Izzy, and he gave us a chance. He put us into a couple stores. There was a regional, mid-Atlantic area, and so we got it was a giant PO. It was for $1,200. It was pretty funny now, but it was a big deal to us then, and that kind of gave us hope. We're on to something. We got some bigger exposure, and then from that you got more exposure, and really kind of helped it. But I think the biggest time was probably between 2006 and 2008. I mean, at that time, Josh had gotten out, and I'd gotten a few partners that were already in the business. They'd been running urban brands for a long time, and they had production capability overseas. And so that was basically, they said, Todd, whatever you dream up, you can have. And so we got a huge booth at Magic, and there was a project at the time, and then we did a bunch of different product lines. We had a footwear license. We were doing accessories. We had distributors in Canada, Europe, Japan, Southeast Asia, and then we were distributing in North America. And it was really, it was great. It was fun. Did tons of parties. All the time you would see our product on MTV or people's MySpace pages, because it was MySpace then, so Lil Wayne and Jay-Z and all the big rappers and celebrities. A lot of celebrities were wearing it. It just felt good. It felt good. I remember I was flying to China, and I was going through the LA airport, and I saw 5 people that I didn't know wearing Shmack, and I was like, that's pretty cool that someone went through all the other brands, and they spent their hard-earned money on something that me and my team created. It was very surreal seeing that.
How did you and Josh kind of come up with the idea, or did you come up with the idea and then you and Josh came together on everything?
Well, Josh and we grew up here in Virginia Beach together. Then I was going to school up in D.C. at George Mason, and he was going to art school. And so he was doing some printing, like hand printing in art school. And so he was like, let's make some t-shirts. So we made these like little screens. We went to Michael's and bought these screens. And we called it Haute, Haute. And he came up with this like, and actually I still have the original screen. It's hanging up on my wall.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I found it like a few years back. And we made some like really like simplistic, I mean, and when I say screens, like instead of doing photo emulsion on a screen, printing out an underlay and doing photo emulsion, we actually like hand painted the stencils. So it was very, and so we made a bunch of shirts, and we were gonna go to, they had some like once a month they had I forget, it was like a flea market. We were gonna go sell them then, and we made a bunch of shirts, and we never did anything with them. And so I graduated college, and then he graduated about 6 months later and moved back to the beach, and I was working for Red Bull at the time, and he didn't have a job, and so I had some extra money, like $3,000, and like, all right, let's do this. And so that's when we came up with Shmack and just started making stuff that we felt like was cool and we wanted to wear. It was just t-shirts and graphics, and very simple, 1-2 color, odd placements. Yeah, so that's kind of just how it started, and then from there we got more and more serious about it. But it was just something we just wanted to make t-shirts that we felt like we wanted to wear. We didn't feel like the kind of in our area the surf shops and skate shops were really doing anything, pushing the limits, and everything was very safe, not graphically challenging or even appealing, really.
How did you I was going to say transition. How did you transition into what you're doing now and
Tactical Distributors,
and how you evolved kind of in the business world even? I mean, can you just walk me through
yeah, I mean it's somewhat, I can do short, abbreviated, but so in 2008 when we had the big like economic downturn crash, Shmack, we were really like, I mean that magic. During that year, we had written the most business we'd ever written in a single show. It was a lot. I mean, it was very, very significant, especially for, like for me, like coming from nothing, starting from nothing. And so we thought it was going to be a stellar year. And then all of a sudden, just the whole economy, especially retail, the bottom fell out. And Shmack got stuck with about $1 million of inventory. So after that show, we created all this product. And then the product from the season before wasn't selling as well in retail, and so then those people bailed on their orders, and it was just a snowball effect. And so at the end of it, and Shmack was not big enough to sustain $1 million. Sorry, my computer's going on. $1 million emails, banging. $1 million loss like that. So my partners at the time, they were involved in other brands, and they just didn't want to keep investing in the Shmack, and which I completely understand. And it was Ralph Reynolds and Mike Shockett and George Metzger, and I owe them. I'm indebted to them because they showed me how to create a brand, how to manufacture overseas, how to run a business. I mean, they're very smart and talented guys, and they've gone on to do great things. They have a Coup, Hustle Gang, Play Clothes, their G-Shock distributor. They're very solid guys. So anyways, so we basically had to part ways, and during that time when things were really slowing down, I had a lot of time on my hands, and so I'd met a friend of mine, and he was a very successful entrepreneur, and he was in the tactical industry, and we were doing a lot of traveling together, him and my now wife, and his family, and he presented to me, said, hey, do you want to come on board and help build a tactical retail company, because they were selling direct to the military and through contracts, and he felt like that there was a big market for selling what they were selling to the military to individual users. So like clothing, footwear, plate carriers, nylon gear, protective gear, and then since then we've kind of grown into a lot of outdoor type of hiking, mountaineering, camping gear as well. So that's just kind of how it started, and then from there, the tactical. So I went and worked for Tactical Distributors. Worked with a guy, still do, partner of mine now, Jerry Sills. He was running Tactical Distributors at the time, and that was like a wholesale business selling to mom and pop shops. And so we basically took that and shifted the focus and do straight e-commerce retail. And that was in 2010. And so Jerry and I got the site built, created the team, the customer service, shipping, logistics, and then we were on. It was very funny because I came from fashion, like and Shmack was like in the streetwear world, and completely opposite spectrums.
Can you apply anything from the streetwear world or what you're doing today, or is it just
No, it's all, no. I think there's some core principles you can, and I learned a lot because at that time, in the mid 2000s, or around 2005 to 10, there's all these collaborations and special makeups and doing these great things, and so just good aesthetics, like people were pushing the boundaries, like the Hundreds and Supreme and all these streetwear guys were pushing the boundaries of just like good photography, retail situations that just really were different and unique to them. And then social media was really kind of starting, and I don't want to say start, but it was starting
budding at that point.
Budding and getting larger. So I took a lot of that and brought it over to the tactical world, because the tactical world was like, you would laugh at the websites that we were looking at when we were trying to do our due diligence of like the market. There's like Microsoft. I don't even want to say it's Microsoft websites. I don't even know what they were made off of. They're terrible, a horrible shopping experience. And so we kind of I brought that into it, and then I brought some of the team members from like Frankie Collins, who does all our graphic design and now our product design for our own brand. Brought him over, and I've met a bunch of different people that now are in our organization. Met them when I was at Shmack.
What about just general marketing tips or branding? Like if you were going to teach a course on this, or if you were going to give advice to entrepreneurs that maybe they are going into the tactical world, or even just retail in general, e-commerce retail, what are the things that you would be spending most of your time thinking about?
Well, I think that you have to be adaptive, right? Like if I look back 10 years, like where were we, and what were the main
markets? We weren't on Instagram.
Huh? No.
We weren't on Instagram.
No, we weren't on Instagram. I don't even think Facebook was really popular at that time. It was MySpace, and then before that was Friendster. And so you just have to be able to adapt and embrace change, and you don't have to put all your eggs in one basket, because there's been plenty of social media platforms that have come and gone too since then. And but I think that you have to say, okay, and not everything works for everybody, right? Like we were talking about Snapchat prior to this, and we found that our customer base, kind of the 2A military, I always say it's like men doing man shit. Like that's what we certainly. Who's your customer base? Like I'm a family man. I have kids. I like to surf. I like to wear selvage denim jeans. I like to collect sneakers. I shoot guns. I hunt. I fish. I don't think you can pigeonhole the people into these groups anymore. So that being said, that this part of our consumer was really active on Instagram early on, and they're early adopters of it. So that's how we came to get a pretty good following on that. But I think you should stay true to who you are, and then also express who you are through these marketing channels. I know that for us, our email list is held sacred, and we try to build it and nurture it and manage it, and we just really, it's our biggest ROI as far as marketing, and because we own it. It's not another company that owns it. We're not at the behest of Facebook all of a sudden changing some algorithm or
pull the rug out, and then that's it.
Yeah, it happened to us with Facebook, and we spent a lot of money trying to build up our fans, and all of a sudden it was gone. And now we've had to figure out other ways to adapt to that, and we have, and it's been okay. But initially what happens, or even with your website, like Google can all of a sudden, they do one update and whatever you were doing is not okay anymore. So it's just staying on the forefront of that. And sometimes in small organizations you can't do everything because you're doing a lot of other stuff. So we partner with other providers that help us knowing what's happening down the pike, and especially with technology, it really kind of keep us abreast of where we should be looking, what we should be focusing our efforts on now.
What about direct to consumer and the future? What's the future of direct to consumer and the consumer just behavior? I mean, I think that's something that I'm always thinking about. Well, where is the ball going? What do you think?
So we, off camera talked about this. I'm a big believer that if we look to the future, that consumers demand more options. They're smarter, they're savvier, they understand the pricing model as far as retail is concerned. And I think that while retailers are an important part of the puzzle, that this social media, just basically technology in general, is allowing consumers to have more power. They're empowered not only through customer service, but then the level of products that they can receive at a better price. And I think that is going to eventually evolve into much more direct-to-consumer interaction from brands. So now it might not be the same brands you see out there now. And if you look, there's always these bell curves of brands. They start small and grow and then plateau. It's hard to keep growing. Sometimes they fade out. Sometimes they do keep growing. Sometimes they level off. But it's usually an evolution. And I think that what we're going to see, and we're already starting to see it, through Elon Musk and automotive, computers. In the military, there's some other brands that I can name that are direct to consumer that do very well at it. And I think that the consumer can get, sometimes they can get a better product at a better price from direct to consumer. Now the challenge is how do you, from a brand perspective, how do you get those consumers, right? If you start from zero and you have a good product or an idea, how do you make that contagious and get that out to the consumer? And that's, it's challenging. But I think that overall there's going to be a lot more smaller, but anyway, I think there'll be more smaller brands that share the bigger piece of the pie, which I'm excited for, because we were talking about it. It gives people an opportunity to do what they love and make a good living at it. They're not getting rich, and they're not, like I said, they're not making money for generations of their family, but they're making a good living. They get to wake up and do what they love every day. I think that's the most important thing, is to, like you and your pursuit with Hamilton Perkins, that your bags, and you wake up every day, you're like, sell more bags, make my product better, and get more hands, get press for it. It's just so exciting. Like every day is just exciting.
What are you doing when you're not here and you're serving your customers? I know you hunt, you fish, you have children, new additions to the family. What are you doing when you're not here? So
we just, my wife and I just had our second boy. So
Congrats.
We got 2 boys. Thank you. We're excited. That's it's been 2 weeks ago today. It's a balancing act. I am very addictive personality. So if I find something I like, and that could be business, or it could be food, it could be anything, I just go full force at it. So I do I like shooting a lot. I hunt in the winter, and then spearfish in the free dive spearfish in the summertime. I try to work out regularly. I really been focused this past year just bettering myself, figuring out the little pitfalls inside of Todd, and what have I been ignoring. There's a lot of things I've been ignoring my whole life, and what can I do to refine those things. There's some things that I excel at and come easy to me or whatever, and that's great. And I think I should build on those. But there's other things that, like you have those things in the back of your mind. Like, I don't want to do that shit. I don't want to deal with that. But like, so I've been like, forgive my French, but quit being a pussy, Todd. Do it. So that's been kind of my mantra of the past. And so with diet, like this last year, since February, I've been doing this ketogenic diet thing, and it's a very disciplined diet, but in some areas of my life I'm very disciplined, in others I'm not. And that was one that I was not. So I've taken it on and been very disciplined about it, and it's more of, it feels great. I don't know, there's a ton of good things about it, but so some of the other things is like learning something new every week. Like every week I have a list of things that I want to at least start learning about, whether it's professionally or it could be tying a knot, a certain type of knot, starting a fire. There's been like construction type things at the house.
Yeah.
So that's been like my main thing, is just trying to experience new things. The other things like financially, like what am I doing financially with the family and saving, and just personal things. I don't know if other people have those struggles or not, but for the most part, lately it's been devoted to the family, and which has been great. It's the coolest thing that's ever happened to me is having children.
I bet, man. I'll be there one day, hopefully.
You will.
Well, everyone's been jamming with us for a while now, so I don't know if you have a call to action. It could be to, take a look at this cool giveaway that you have coming up, or maybe to go and check you out on Instagram, but, I'll throw it out there if you have a call to action just to let everyone know. Yeah,
we have we got a whole host of partners together for this giveaway. It's $3,600 for the tactical gear. It ends the end of the month, so it's the 17th, so we got a couple weeks left. You can find it on the tactical_distributors Instagram page. The link's in the bio, and you just sign up. It's easy. There's gonna be one winner take all, and like I said, it's like tons of gear from really quality tactical companies. We're excited to have that, and if you want to look me up or DM me, feel free. My name's Todd Askins. It's T Askins, Askins on Instagram. I'm always willing to give back. Like, Ralph Reynolds introduced us together, and Ralph called me up and was like, hey, I got a really sharp dude. He's like, I don't know what he's doing, but he's really smart. He's got some cool stuff. You want to talk to him? I'm like, yeah, no problem. Because people gave me the opportunity, right? So it's my chance to give the opportunity back. Now, I do get a lot of people who go, I want to start a brand. What should I do? And I'm like, send me a list of questions, and I'll answer them. I'm not going to draw out a business plan for you, but I'll help you figure that stuff out. But you have to take the initiative and start it. And you've done a really good job, and you're well on your way to success. I think it's exciting. So yeah, feel free. I'm an open book. Dial me up.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, and really appreciate you doing this, and we'll sign off.
All right. See y'all.